Yo, welcome back to the No Level Cap podcast where we talk about all the anime, all the games, all the nerd culture, none of the bullshit. I'm your host, Sage Ashford, and this week we're getting into San Diego Comic-Con news and some of our favorite anime of the 2000s. Yeah, so like we covered in the intro, we're going to get into some of our favorite anime from the 2000s. But first, we wanted to cover some of the biggest news of the week, basically everything that's come out of the San Diego Comic Con thus far. It's only been 2 days for us here. We're recording on a Friday night. So we are going to miss anything big that comes out of Saturday. Nothing usually comes out on Sunday. So, I mean, no big deal there. But yeah, if you're wondering if there's some big, huge Saturday thing that we didn't cover, we recovering it. We recording this in the past. You see it in the future, so I'm sorry. But yeah, let's just get into it. We're gonna check out this Yakuza trailer.
Oh yeah. Tattoos and combos.
You ain't wrong.
Man, I am so hyped for this series.
I know.
I want this to be real good.
Same.
So this is with Kiryu, right?
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Boy, Kamen Rider Drive is the lead.
That's dope. Oh man, this is a fire aesthetic.
All right,
Check it
so
in,
I mean, it's a couple of
Big walk.
it's a couple of Yakuza fans on the podcast with me. Will, what you think of the trailer?
I think it's actually really good. That's like setting the tone right there to kind of let you know that like this is probably going to be like a serious like drama filled show. And if you are a fan of the games like I am, like Sage is, like Keem is, if you played them and you know what the story is all about, by all means, this should definitely be right up your alley. It's gonna be. I'm hoping it's gonna be amazing. I'm ready for it when it drops because I'm still playing games right now. I'm finally on Yakuza 7 right now, so I'll be starting that next week. So I'm just ready. I'm just ready to see this happen, man.
What about you, Rakeem? You said you was liking what you saw so far. Huh?
Oh yeah, it feels really, really cool. Just like that little snippet, just getting the idea of like the world and who's how Q's place is gonna be in it. I'm very intrigued. Even that little snippet of him walking into the arena with his shirt off, throwing the money, it brings back so many memories of me playing Yakuza 1 for the first time, going to the underground coliseum and meeting all the characters, dealing with Dastardly Nishiki, who I'm sure is going to be probably the main villain this arc, this season, most likely. I am enjoying just the fact that it exists alone brings me happiness. Yeah. I am 100% there. This is one of my favorite franchises. I just recently played Yakuza 7, which brought me back into it, kind of reinvigorated myself into playing them again. Yeah, I'm down. I'm down.
Okay. Devin, what'd you think? I know you're not really into Yakuza like that, but what'd you think of the trailer?
Yakuza's, since I've seen like Rakeem play it, and I mean, even we were streaming Lost Judgment, which I think is also part of the Yakuza universe.
Set in the same universe.
Yeah. I mean, I thought, I'm like, this will make a good series. Like Lost Judgment, I'm like, this is a really good story. Like, an investigator, like a crime, like a drama. It's like this would make for like some good television. So I was like, at some point they're gonna do this, and here we are. It looks pretty promising. This is one of those things, like if they knock it out the park, which Amazon has been doing recently. I mean, they just had the Fallout, which was, pretty well received for the most part. So if they can keep that trend going with something as beloved as Yakuza, they might have a win on their hands with this one. It looks pretty good so far.
Okay. What about you, Terrence? What do you stand on the trailer?
Yeah, like Devin, I've never played the Yakuza games, but I'm very familiar with them. It's like one of those things where the name precedes itself at this point. I think from an outsider perspective, this looks very promising, especially when you have something like Shogun that came out this year or last year. I think this year.
Yeah, it was this year.
Yeah,
It was
this
this
year. Like if you have something like Shogun came out and it was a huge success, so Amazon is known for quality, and if they can pull off the scale of this show, I think it could definitely appeal to a broad audience and kind of pull in some of the same people that would watch something like a Shogun. Because before, when it came to like foreign shows or like shows with subtitles and whatnot, only certain audiences were checking for them, but a lot of this stuff has become a lot more mainstream. And so I think this has the potential to blow up. It just depends on how it's written and how they adapt the source material. But yeah, I'm on board with it. I'm looking forward to seeing how it turns out. I hope it's good.
Yeah, I like what I saw so far. I want a longer trailer at some point. I think this is coming out fairly soon. So
It said October 24th, I believe.
yeah, October. Yeah, so I mean, it's just a couple of months, so we not too far off. So I hope that,
that first comment.
If Kiryu doesn't beat up somebody with a bicycle, then I feel robbed. No, that's facts though.
Nah, for real.
Heat action.
At
It's
least
gotta have a little ridiculousness to it. It's
I swear,
Yakuza.
gotta have a
just
little
a
bit,
moment
bro.
with a triangle button pop on the screen, and he just like, yep, it's time. He just destroyed somebody.
Destroy somebody with a
Oh,
traffic cone, bro.
I was gonna say throw him out the window and then smack him with a traffic cone. Yeah. So, but yeah, that's the one thing I am concerned about. Like, can you balance the two different tones of Yakuza? Because Yakuza is very well known for doing like serious stuff and then also being able to do comedy at the same time. So I hope that they can nail that. But even if they lean more serious than comedic, you could still probably get it done. So I'm looking forward to checking this out. The next one, let's check out this Batman Cape Crusader. They've been trying to ramp up a little bit on the marketing for this, so I'm kind of curious as to what this latest trailer looks like.
Hey, yo.
My man's drunk off his ass.
Yeah, that's Batman. Holy crap, Batman.
Help! Someone! Who's behind those explosions? Oh God! Who? What are you? 3 buildings blown to pieces. You falsified the reports. Who paid you? Are you crazy? Pull me up! Give me a name. Just pull me up! Oh God! Hurry, please! I won't ask again. It was a penguin! It was a freaking penguin! Oh God! Oh my God!
Strong as this
If you're
man.
lying to me, I'll be back.
It's already feel like 90s Batman.
I'll be back.
Yo, this is that Batman from that Justice Unlimited episode. Old Batman, where he's like, "This is how you interrogate someone."
Grabbed the man by the cane, had him begging.
Right.
That was wild. Okay. Nice little snippet there.
Devin, what you think, man?
It looks pretty dope, actually. It's like they just took the very reminiscent of the style of like the animated series, like just almost the same, but like kind of modernized a little bit. Like even the way like the characters are drawn, looks pretty good. I mean, classic Batman. I mean, he's out here. It reminds me of Justice League when they had a Deadshot and they was trying to get some information out of him. Superman's like, "Tell me your grandma's secret recipe for a biscuit." "I ain't telling you nothing, Superman. Get out of my face." Batman just come over there. "All right, man. All right, it's two teaspoons of butter." I'm like, "Sir." So seeing him do something like that, hey, this is classic Batman. So if you lie to me, I will be back.
I mean, if the Penguin found out he the one that snitched, he ain't gonna have to worry about it because Penguin gonna
Well,
throw him back in front of that train.
That's true. That's
Yeah.
true. That look
With
good
no
though. I ain't
way
gonna lie,
up.
I'm excited for that one.
Terrence, what do you stand, bro?
I still think it looks great.
Mhm.
The first trailer looked great, and this one is equally as promising. Yeah, so far the voice work, I'm liking Batman's voice. The rest of the cast, I mean, we haven't seen them just yet, but just based on the cast list that we've seen, I think that this is going to be a very promising show. So I'm looking forward to it. I mean, hey, this is another one for Amazon, so they got some heat on the way. And this one comes out August, I believe. Yeah, next month, right?
So next month? Okay, that's
I think so.
Are they doing one episode at a time?
That I don't know. I think Amazon, well, to be fair, Amazon, I think now has started to do that for some of their shows. It kind of depends on the show. I think some of them, they drop it all at once, and others, they do put it out like one episode at a time, I think.
I know Rings of Power was definitely one episode at a time.
It sure was.
And, of course, Invincible, they had like the break with it.
Mm-hmm.
And I think Fallout was all at once, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. So I guess it just depends on the show.
Okay. Will, what about you, man? How'd you like?
I agree with Devin on that art style. I really like the way it looks right there, and I love the way Batman just operated right there. Like, really, even though I was still kind of questioning his strength on just yanking that man up like that and slamming the alcohol out of him.
That's what I'm saying.
I kind of questioned that a little taste, but at the same time, I'm like, you know what? It's Batman. I guess they just gonna allow him to do what he gonna do.
It's part of mysticism.
I will definitely find myself watching this, no doubt about it. Once I see how many come out, if it's a once a week thing or if it's all out, but I would watch this. This is definitely something I'll put on my radar.
2 places I've seen thus far say it's coming out all at once on August 1st, so we don't have to wait long for this at all.
Not at all.
Okay,
wow.
Not at all.
Yeah.
Okay.
Might just marathon that. I'll be a day off of mine, so I'll check
That'd
it
be
out.
fire.
King, what about you, man? What did you think?
Hey man, look good to me. I just want to know if is Batman's ears on his knee bigger every episode, or that's my one complaint. Some big ears on you, Batman. Maybe I get the hot top cow. They got the hot top cow.
It's like
this really is retro.
The hot top bat ears.
They said, look, we gonna represent the 90s real well. But yeah, the aesthetic, I always like Batman when he leans more into noir. And like that serious style of Batman. Although I did like Brave and the Bold too, but I really this is nostalgic for me because I lived and breathed the animated series as a child. I watched that like it was a religion. So yeah, I'm down for this.
I thought this looked good. I do have questions about how he lifted that man who was not a small man at all and just like flung him too. Like he didn't just like kind of lift him. He like threw him like a sack of potatoes. I'm like, how did you do that? But aside from that, all jokes aside, like this does look good. It is reminiscent of the 90s Batman, but it is different in some key ways.
Its own thing.
It still has that same timeless feel of like, I don't know what decade this takes place in, but there are some very clear golden age inspirations, like some 1940s style inspirations for the characters, for Batman, for all the villains that we've seen. And they seem to be trying to make it more down to earth. Like even Clayface is going to be like not what you would think he would be. So I'm looking forward to seeing how they handle this over the course of the first 10 episodes. So
okay.
Next up, we've got Creature Commandos, which is officially the first part of the DC universe, like the new DC universe.
Right.
Okay.
Also, I see they brought back the classic DC logo.
Huh.
Ooh.
They did.
I'm a little surprised that they
see
did that.
that.
But
I'm liking this art already.
Yeah.
I do like the art. This is the first time, like they talked about Creature Commandos being the first thing that's coming out of the DCU, but I think this is the first actual trailer we've seen. So,
part of you homeboy that was on the back right was tweaking.
I think the volume's lower on
good
this
on audio.
one.
Yeah,
that might be low audio.
Is that Rick Flag?
I thought Congress put a stop to all Task Force X activity.
Like Mark.
Congress said you can't use human prisoners. These assholes aren't human.
That was dark.
She told no lie.
Yes.
I mean, she didn't lie. All right, bro.
Out of Frankenstein.
Oh, Dr. Phosphorus. I remember.
What?
Weasel. He tweaking, bro.
This is your new task force.
It's been oh so long. The robot has sent Nazis back to hell.
Let's call it Task Force M. M for monster, also known as
Okay, that was different. I didn't hate it. I know that Waller normally has no connection to the Creature Commandos, but it's one of those properties that's so old that it's like, who really cares if they make some changes to it? At least it's back, so I'm not really that bothered by it. I'm excited to see where they go with this, and maybe James Gunn's sense of humor might work better for a cartoon than it does for like live action. Devin, what'd you think, man?
This is what I was actually anticipating when we did like the list of the things that were upcoming. This is one of the ones that I really want to see what it was about. Looks pretty cool. It definitely has that Suicide Squad vibe to it. I mean, it's almost like same type of deal. You get this group of misfit criminals, and they have to take out some mission. So this looks pretty good. I like the art style. Looks very crisp and clean. Yeah, I'm very interested to see what this is about.
Okay. Rakeem, what about you? Where do you stand?
I thought it was okay. I needed to watch the show for it to win me over more. I just wasn't quite as interested in this as I was Batman. But I'll give it a try because I'm unfamiliar with the IP in general. So this will be a new for me.
All right. Will, what about you, man?
Yeah, I'm very much like unfamiliar with Creature Commandos, but this right here definitely looks like it'd be a fun watch, no doubt about it. So it'll be something I had to just try to get into and sit with. Maybe it'll get me to go back and look at some other material.
I don't know if there's like, because I think the last Creature Commandos is like 60s or 70s type property.
It feels like it.
Yeah. So what I'm hoping here is that it's just a good start for the DC universe, because I think they need that more than anything. What about you, Terrence?
I like the art style. I think that it has a very sharp look to it. Yeah, just would have to see more, because DC starting things off with what looks like another Suicide Squad kind of shows they still have a hard on for Suicide Squad.
Oh man, I didn't think about it like that.
Why does DC love Suicide Squad so much? Like it's
they really do.
It's crazy, but yeah. Anyway, yeah, this is one of those we'll just have to wait and see how it turns out. Maybe they'll have another trailer that'll show more about what exactly is going on. This was pretty much just a teaser, so we're not going to get too much out of it. It comes out in December, so that's plenty of time to build it up. But yeah, consider me intrigued. I put it that way.
Man, I ain't gonna lie, you kind of messed up a little bit of my hype when you was like, this is technically like the Suicide Squad. I'm like, damn, because I said,
it's kind of hard
Waller
to ignore it.
Right there, yeah.
Amanda Waller just straight up isn't present for the Creature Commandos in the comics that I've seen. So this was like a new little twist. And I guess that they were like, well, I mean, it's like the Suicide Squad, but not quite like, oh man, I didn't ask for that. But hopefully it'll be good regardless.
Yeah, at first I thought they were going for something like Doom Patrol or something.
Oh, yeah. Well, they already did Doom Patrol not that long ago.
Yeah.
And it ran for like, I think 3 or 4 seasons. So they had a little bit.
Oh yeah, more Transformers.
But before we were enemies. We were like brothers.
Not gonna lie, a Transformer movie on Cybertron. I've been waiting for this.
I've been waiting for this.
What did you say?
It's not like he can transform.
Hey, Darkwing. My finger can transform. Guess which one? Allow me. I appreciate you having my back. No matter what.
What is that?
Sending location coordinates. Under attack!
It's an SOS message from the surface.
Fantastic.
It's time to show them we are more than meets the eye.
A cave with teeth. Nothing scary about that.
Like the boss from Demon Souls.
I see strength in you. Take these and access your full potential.
We can transform now.
All right, Guru.
How you choose to use this power is up to you. We roll out.
What?
gunpowder.
Transform and roll out. I want to help build a better world. Like you said, we can be so much more.
Maybe it's just me, but he's different.
Yeah, no, I picked up on that.
I picked up on that too.
What happened to my best friend? Burn it down! All of it!
We have to stop him.
We could have built the future together. I don't think so. Decepticons! Rise up! Incoming!
Come on!
Awesome!
That's what I'm talking about.
Now is the time up. Together as one.
Look, that's Starscream, and you're Shockwave and Soundwave.
Enough.
Gosh, raise your hand if Wave is in your name. There's a lot of waves.
Oh. I wish they'd take the humor out, but I mean, that's never mind. Terrence, how'd you like it, man?
This is one that I'm definitely looking forward to. The fact that we're getting an animated Transformer movie after like decades. I mean, this is dope. I'll take anything over Michael Bay's Transformers. It's just never been my thing.
Facts.
But yeah, I'm liking this. And also in regards to the voice talent, even though it's celebrity voice talent, it doesn't feel like they overshadow the characters. It feels everyone right now feels at home, at least to me. We'll see obviously when the actual movie comes out, but yeah, I like what I'm seeing and can't wait to see this one in theaters.
Okay. What about Will? What about you, Will?
I definitely go and see this in theaters. I'm definitely intrigued by it. I like the plot line of what they got going on here. I'm not like super huge into Transformers. I did watch the cartoons and whatnot growing up when they ran on TV and whatnot, and definitely had a couple toys here and there growing up. But seeing this here, it has my intrigue. So as soon as I hear it's at the theater, I'll definitely be there.
Okay. Rakeem?
I need to finish that last Netflix Transformers show now I think about it. Yeah, my impressions from the trailer was like, wow, this movie it feels very self-aware of like its history a little bit. The comedy was definitely people who are fans of the franchise already and kind of know the history of it. It's very quippy, obviously, going for a little more humorous take. With Transformers can get really fucking serious a lot of times, depending on how you write it and what arc they're in or whatever. So it can get kind of dark and serious. So they're going more lighthearted this time. Like they're gradually turning it up as the movie as this divide happens between Optimus and Megatron. They're gradually turning up the tension. So that could be where the movie takes a more serious turn. So I'm slightly like, okay, this might be okay. This might be okay. I just hope they don't lean, like you said. I know how much you didn't like Guardians of the Galaxy. It feels like it's almost kind of dancing in that area.
A little.
For me.
I mean,
yeah,
that's fair. That's completely fair. Devin.
This one is definitely I'd say I'm intrigued. 2 reasons. I did not realize that this is canonically correct that Optimus and Megatron had a relationship like that beforehand. And I didn't know that they couldn't. I thought they always could transform. So that's 2 things that I'm like, I did not know that.
Well, they added it.
They added it?
Yeah, this is just for this film.
Oh, okay. Because I was like, wait, they couldn't. Okay, because I was like, the guy was like, you can't even transform. What is this like what's the word I'm looking for? Like a social class? Like, you can't transform, you little scrub robot. Look at you little joints. Can't even. It's like, okay. But I would agree. I think the humor, hopefully this one doesn't go too far, because I mean, it seems like there's something serious gonna happen. Like, of course, like the divide, I don't know what's gonna happen. I mean, it's a lot of robots, a lot of battling going on. I know Megatron's a pretty hardcore guy. But maybe they won't go too far with the humor. Just hopefully we don't get none of the humor like we had in Michael Bay, because some of that was a little weird. I saw like a clip from one of the old movies today, like Megatron on top of Shia LaBeouf on a car. I'm like, this just looks so this just look weird. Like it's a human and a big robot. You would be crushed, my guy. So
What was the one they showed, like it was like Devastator and they all combined and they showed Devastator's nuts or whatever, and it was like two wrecking balls.
Transformers 2, one of the worst movies ever made.
You know what? I saw it in theaters too.
I did too.
You know what? Now I think about it. I actually got the I was at the location when they filmed some of Transformers 2. Now that I think about it, I'm definitely more intrigued in this film. No fucking humans. What I've waited for my whole life.
Yes.
There you go.
Even as a kid, I was like, why the hell are there kids and children here? I want to see robots. What are these people doing here?
Yeah,
they're not necessary.
I'll definitely take some quips over humans being in it. So yeah, you're absolutely right.
Yeah, I hear you on that part.
So the no transforming thing is absolutely new. They have had social class problems before. That's usually what the Decepticons break away from Cybertronian society over. Just like the way that they've socially stratified people. The comics did a lot towards that. Like basically you were classified according to what your alt mode was. So of course you had to be able to transform just to have an alt mode in the first place. And as far as like Optimus and Megatron being friends, that's kind of a newer thing, but the comics did play with that a little bit. Basically having like, they weren't friends from like birth or anything like that, but they did become friends right before the Civil War started. And like, you know, Megatron was like this guy that believed in, you know, reforming society, and gradually the society as it was kind of broke him down and made him realize like, okay, reform is not possible. The only way to make this work is to just tear everything down, destroy it, and start over. And as he got more destructive, of course, Optimus was like, all right, I got to get in your way. It does seem like this movie is doing a little bit of that, but also kind of leaning into they used to be really brothers and stuff. And I mean, like that might be important or necessary for the casual viewer. So I'm not mad at that. That's a change that I'm okay with. I will say the first trailer I saw of this, I despised. I was like, oh man, this is going to be ass. And this one looks much better than that one. So I'm a little more sold. I'm a little more like, okay, this could be good. I'm still far from spending $17 or whatever it is to go to the theater, but I'm still like, okay, I might see this on Netflix or something like that. And depending on what word of mouth I hear, I might go see it in the theaters. I do. Oh, and the other thing I really like Terrence said, no humans, love that. And just the fact that it's entirely, at least right now, on Cybertron. Yeah, let's go.
That's dope.
If there could be another movie that maybe lessens the humor a little bit more and focuses more on the war, and you just see like how the war goes to Cybertron, affects Cybertron over the years, I would be super into that as a franchise. It'd be nice to finally get something like that with like some budget behind it. So I'm cautiously optimistic. Is a shift from last week where I was cautiously pessimistic. And then the last thing I want to do before we get into the topic of the day, let's go ahead and check out this Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles trailer.
Are you gonna give a big speech or something? The whole "I am Bishop, I hate chaos" thing from before?
What? No, we're here to exterminate the mutants, not talk to them.
We can hear you.
Loud and clear, man.
Wait, did you just say you want to exterminate us?
Yeah, I mean, maybe you don't recognize us. Remember those heroes who saved the city? That's us.
Oh, you think you're heroes? Your mere existence is a threat to humanity.
Oh, yeah, we're doing the speech. Hey, just a quick question, though. Mutant guys, how did you actually get to be mutants? It was something to do with your blood, right?
Quiet, Rod. You
Like
may
this animation
have
style.
everyone else fooled, but not me.
It looks like Craig of the Creek.
Is she throwing toasters at us?
Giru.
That is cool.
Yeah, these are pretty sweet. Did you make them, like in a garage or something? They sort of have that look.
Mechazoids, exterminate!
Whoa, is it supposed to be doing that?
Yo, is this for real? Did this lady really build robots to try and snuff us out?
That's horrible, but still kind of cool, you know? Like something you see in a movie. This is not cool. What are these things?
She called them
How small they are.
That sounds
I know, right?
Yeah. They're like
They're
actual
not-
teenagers.
Right.
Well, I mean, the robots are small to match them,
Oh,
which almost makes them less threatening.
a big chest.
really advanced AI. Ha.
Yeah. Top heavy.
Oh no.
Giant swing.
You can't press 1 to break that.
I ain't gonna lie, Leo, you should be the one to knock out one of them first.
We need a plan.
Hey, isn't that your job?
Yeah, that kind of is.
Beast mode.
Yeah, see, that's
Yeah,
not
that's-
really a plan.
that's
This is
always
why you
Rap's
don't
plan.
have that job.
Yep.
He ain't never changed.
Leo,
Rest playing hands.
Ralph's playing.
This is really bad.
Why is it violent working?
But that's
The mobility
hilarious.
function on that thing is insane.
Robots kind of done tell those things. You know?
Supposed to be.
Decline.
Uh-oh.
Are you
Underwood.
sure these guys are a threat to humanity and all that? They just
They
seem
getting
like,
beat up.
you know, regular kids.
Regular kids are not green, Rod. They don't rampage through the city, destroying buildings and people's life's work, but they're ticking genetic time bombs that... Can you move?
Oh, sorry. I think the orange one is my favorite. Maybe we keep him alive just in case, you know? Maybe we need his blood or something? I don't know.
Guys, can you hear me?
What?
Where are you? We've got to find a way out of here.
Hey, no kidding, genius. I'm open to suggestions.
whoa! Ah!
Terrorizing these poor kids.
I know,
Man.
right?
Just bullying.
Got it. Mikey, the lady, her name was Bishop. She's controlling these things. Can you get up there and distract her?
Yeah, Mikey. Tell her a joke.
That was sarcasm, wasn't it? See, the murder bot agrees.
Damn. That football run.
It's the king engagement.
Mmm. With that flying kick.
So it's to follow you to the center of the yard.
What are you trying to get me,
Man,
Bert?
like Ralph, he's playing working. Well, whoa.
Johnny, get to the queen. Oh, yeah.
I see where this is going, Leo. Sorry, Mechazoid. I'll take care of the rest.
What are they doing?
Hi. I don't suppose you're open to talking about this.
I'm just in charge of the snacks, man.
I was wondering how much they were going to give us. That was
I know, right?
That was a lengthy clip.
It was.
Very.
I mean, I am a little more sold on it. I guess I'll say that. Devin, what you think?
Is that new Young Joseph?
I'm so far, man. I want to see more Ninja Turtles or something that's near and dear to my heart. Had me in a chokehold in the 90s as a kid on Saturday mornings, eat my bowl of cereal and go for myself and 4 teenage turtles kicking foot soldiers' butts. So I like how they've the new turtles have kind of got. I think it kind of started with the Nick Turtles. It's always been that way, but it seems like they have much more personality, like even just visual. Like Mikey has braces on now, which is kind of fits his vibe.
They
you
get
know?
braces.
Yeah.
Yeah. This one, they definitely make them like this in the movie. They definitely make them more like actual teenagers instead of just teenage in the name alone.
Yeah. So that's
These more like
dope.
teenage. These more like preteen Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Yeah.
They sound like they closer to like 12 or 13, maybe 14.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're kind of aiming more for like a 14 kind of like like 13, 14.
growth spurt kicked in, but it ain't kicked in all the way yet. What about you, Rakeem?
Well, you know me, man. I grew up as a child. I was a TMNT stalwart fan. I had the musicals. I had the movies. I had I watched the cartoon. Yes, there was musicals.
No, I know what you're talking about, but I'm just saying. Did you have the what was it, the PSA tape with the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles?
Yes, sir. Boy. Oh man. But yeah, this looks pretty good. I actually liked. This is one of those times where like we talked about how the last Transformers movie felt kind of weird and quippy. The comedy here felt perfect. It's like the timing was like always right. It didn't drag too long. The characters felt natural to each other. Like they felt like they really knew each other. They were like actual people, which is dope. Very human. They're like very humanized. So I liked what I saw. I think it has a good shot to be a pretty good show. I wish I had saw the movie. I still haven't seen the film yet.
I'm gonna have to check the film out.
Yeah, I was gonna have really comments about that. Yeah.
Will, what about you, man?
Just like you said, I'm about to check out their film, but I do like the art style, and I love that they actually really personify them as kind of like, as the kids, the teenagers. I love the personification of that. Instead of, we know who they are, but instead they just really out here just whooping everybody's ass when you start causing trouble. So, I want to see it. It's a Nickelodeon thing, and so far the comedy is good. The action looks pretty fun too, and the characters seem like they're just going to have a lot of really silly interactions with each other. So I think that's going to be a good show to watch.
Okay. Terrence.
So yeah, if for anyone that hasn't, not just anyone here, but just anyone in general, if you haven't seen the movie that came out, I believe it was last year, yeah, like go watch that. Like before you watch this, go watch that, because that actually is a really good movie, and I'm surprised how kind of under the radar it went. It feels like after it came out, people didn't really talk about it like that, despite it being well received. It wasn't even nominated for Oscar, even though there's like a couple of other animated movies that I feel like definitely should not have been nominated over that, but. Anyway, yeah, I like the new movie is good in how it gives the Turtles even more personality than what they had before. And yeah, it makes them like actual teenagers, like in all the other iterations for them, like teenagers, like they're like 17, 18. They're more like adult than they are
look
teenage.
22.
Yeah. Like in this one, they make them actual teenagers, and it's very modern. Like they make anime references. Yeah, like it's really dope. I definitely recommend the movie to anyone that hasn't watched it. And yeah, as for this show, I'm looking forward to seeing how this turns out. It has a different art style than the movie. The movie was CG, and this one just seems like it's a traditional hand-drawn animation. But yeah, I like it. It's still just as distinct. Like while the movie has a bit of a kind of like an older Nickelodeon cartoon look to it, like in terms of like things look a little off model and not as like pretty. This one looks a little prettier, quote unquote, than the movie. So I mean, maybe this one will appeal to more people in that regard. But yeah, I like what I saw. I'm looking forward to see how it turns out. Hopefully it maintains the same level of quality as the movie. I'll put it that way.
I need to see the movie for myself because I haven't seen it yet. I do like that Transformers TMNT finds ways to iterate on itself repeatedly and make like these massive changes, because like the 03 show was nothing like the 89 show. The 2012 show didn't really resemble the 03 show. Rise of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles wasn't like any of the ones before it. And in this one, once again, they found a way to just completely reinvent themselves and make something that could appeal to modern generations while also feeling true to the TMNT spirit. I like that. I did love the comedy. Like Keem said, like the last one, everything. I mean, like Transformers has always been on its face a more serious property. It's more war focused and shit. And so like when you think about it, you're like, oh man, I don't really know about no quips. But like with these guys, it's just, four brothers hanging out. It didn't really matter how bad the situation gets. It makes sense for them to tell jokes because they're just friends. And so like I kind of like this. I do dig that because they're younger and smaller and less experienced, what they've done is crank down the seriousness of the events anyway. Like you could tell, like even the guy, like you have Bishop, they've reworked Bishop from the horror that he used to be in TMNT 03. Because he's terrible. They reworked him and made him a woman, and she doesn't seem as serious. And then like her partner is just like they kind of seem normal. Why are we fighting them? Like he was like the voice of reason. He's like, I don't see the point in this. Like they running and they're not really. They don't seem scary to me. Like I like that. Like I like that there's a level of understanding of like, hey, if you're gonna make these guys younger, you can't have them face the same level of straight up nonsense that they had to face in like TMNT 03. So I'm into this. It says it's coming out and it looks like it's all dropping on August 9th.
Oh wow.
That's gonna make August pretty busy between
Man,
this and
August is
Batman.
about to be live.
Jesus.
Yes, sir.
And we got
Oh,
Gamescom.
Dang.
Oh man, I am so excited for Gamescom. Y'all hear Crimson Desert was finally gonna be there?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
you
heard.
did show that.
About
Dope.
fucking time. Let's go.
Hope it
Uh,
hurts.
I also heard that there's supposed to be NetEase. NetEase is supposed to be there. Maybe with some new games, potentially like the new game from Nagoshi from since he left Yakuza. So I mean since he left RGG Studios. So I don't know. Like I'm excited
I do
to
want to see
where
what that
we're
looks
going with
like.
that. Right?
I definitely want to see that now, especially after I know he's seeing this. Like, I didn't put my baby on TV now, huh? Okay, I got something for you.
I'm ready to step it up. Between that and the fact that RGG Studios is ready to show off their new game in September, it's gonna be
Oh
a
my
busy few
God.
months for announcements. Which is making it because like this is, I mean, like low key, this is still kind of light because I don't think we got a Marvel movie trailer, did we?
Are you talking about from San Diego Comic-Con?
Yes.
Not that I know. I mean, the Captain America trailer just came out,
happened,
so they
yeah.
probably don't have anything else. And also the Agatha trailer, so they might not have anything.
Oh yeah.
That's a good point.
Probably I mean, I'm sure they snuck some stuff in the Hall H, that's the game. You go, you spend all the money to go there and they give you the Hall H trailers that nobody ever sees. So maybe that. But
Maybe
yeah,
like a reworked timeline of the movies, maybe.
Could be.
Yeah.
Could be. I heard they spoke a little bit about Kang. They said they were kind of his fate was still up in the air. I'm like, uh-oh. I wonder how that's gonna play out. I would just recast. It seems like it wouldn't be that hard, but
At this point, yeah, might as well. Like we know what's going on, bro. Let's just move on.
Yeah.
They seem like they trying to just write him out. With Ant-Man 3, I'm like, man, what a bad way to go out. And I know there's some. Yeah, exactly. And I know there are some scrub ass fans, and that's what you are. I'm sorry. Actually, not sorry. You're a fucking scrub if you're like, oh man, Kang was whack anyway, so we didn't need to use him. Like, shut up. It just can't be the same top tier villains every time. Like, I don't need to see Doom 60 billion times. Like, relax. We can do Kang. We can elevate Kang because didn't nobody know who Thanos was until they finally set him up and made him look cool. So like, you can do the same thing with Kang. You just gotta find a way to present him. So I hope they to figure out how that works. But yeah, I think that's about it for the SDCC stuff, unless there's anything somebody else knows that I didn't know. That's what I kind of figured. All right, so we can switch up to the topic of the show. All right, man, let's get into this. We talk about some of our favorite anime of the 2000s. I've been wanting to do this for a while. The last couple were kind of cursed low key because every time we tried to do them, there was always somebody missing or multiple people missing. So I'm glad that this one with the 2000s, we've got everybody here. We can talk about stuff. So I want to just go ahead and get it started with round one. Rakeem, what's your first one?
So for oh my goodness. So for my first one, I'm gonna pick one I think I've brought up before. It's Crusader. Such a cool, sleek anime. Not a very long anime, but one that does everything it needs to do in the time it's allotted. The anime is such a nice animation style, striking kind of style. The plot gives you it kind of makes you feel like an X-Men type of story where you have these two ideologies of like these meta-human kind of characters, and they have different ideas of how they're supposed to use their powers. One's focusing on independence, and one kind of wants to keep the status quo. And the cool part about the show is that you get both perspectives, and both perspectives get time to shine and show why those perspectives are interesting and like what's right. It kind of leaves you up to decide, even though it kind of leans one direction a little bit more. But it kind of leaves you up to decide who's the good guy, who's the bad guy. And even in the final scene, it's like a fight between the two main characters. I just really enjoyed that show as a kid. Thought the powers were cool. The animation looked sleek. The concept was really dope. And it's one of those animes that got me to thinking about concepts in anime further than just smacking a dude in the face, like the broader concepts of anime and like what it can, how they reflect things in society, like how anime can tell a great story outside of just flash and combat and great animation. They can tell a really tight, interesting story that is compelling. So I got to shout out It's Cry. That's one of my personal favorites.
I knew you was gonna say Scrod, so I had it on my list, but I figured that you was gonna say it.
I love that show.
I am kind of shocked because like when I think about it, I'm like the last thing I think about is the plot. I just be thinking about the hands because I always
the hands is great too.
It's like Dragon Ball Z, except Goku and Vegeta get the fight that you want at the end because the last episode is literally just throwing hands.
Yeah.
That's the one thing I remember the most about it. Like they was powering up and they was just beating the crap out of each other. I like that. Devin, what's your? What's yours?
So I have to give it to Hajime no Ippo.
Yeah, I knew that was coming.
That's why I left it off my list because I knew somebody was gonna have it.
When I tell you, this was the first sports anime I think I really like dove into. And before that, I thought sports anime. I'm like, man, sports. Why would I want to watch a sports anime? And then boxing of all things. I'm like, I wasn't really into boxing. I was like, of course, this was a time when Kiss anime craze that, and all those things were, part of anime fans' routine to go search up stuff. So you just find stuff. I said, I'm gonna probably watch 1 or 2 episodes of this, and probably won't be into it. Episodes and episodes later, I'm like, man, this is one of my favorite animes of all time. I'm just like, was not totally unexpected, like a sports anime. It even made me start going out and searching other sports anime. And now sports anime is like one of my favorite genres of anime. Blanking on the name, Kuroko no Basket is like another one of my favorites. I went to watch this, I think it was called 5 Outs or 1 Out?
1 Out.
1 Out. Baseball anime. I started looking for sports anime just because of Hajime no Ippo. So, I mean, just the main character, like even at the beginning, he's like a person that's like not sure of himself. He's not really confident. Then he meets Takamaru. He's like, hey man, I can show you how to box. He had like bully problems, and like once he learned to box, it's like he just became a totally different person. He became more confident in himself and was a very skilled boxer. So I just can't say enough about how much I love Hajime no Ippo. It's probably about time I go and rewatch it. I think you said, Keenan, what the manga's still going, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
So that's
old.
Crazy.
It's real old.
The fact that Ippo is now a trainer, when he was like a teenager in high school in the original. So yeah, man, Hajime no Ippo.
You know what that sounds like?
What's that?
It sounds like Major.
Ooh,
the baseball anime.
Oh,
yeah. It started out with the kid. He was in like little league, and then eventually it just showed him going through the leagues, and eventually he was in Major League Baseball. And then eventually he just let his son take over, and he was just like a legend, and the son had to get his legend over. It sound like that.
Yep.
Yeah, he out here training now.
And, I gotta give. If I think about Hajime Ippo, I give a shout out to Shida no Joe from way back in the day. I feel like boxing animes had a strong foundation from like how popular that manga was, and they kind of built off of that, and they can't keep that foundation going.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Terrence, what about you, man? What's your first one?
So for me, I'll just start off by saying like the 2000s is such a great decade for anime. Like it's really the decade when you could tell like anime exploded. Like there's just so much more to this decade than the ones prior. Not that the ones prior didn't have like good anime, but you just see that there's just so much more of it from this decade. And yeah, this is where I really got into anime. So man, there's so many to cover. But the one that I'm going to start off with is one that you don't hear about anymore. Even though it was so popular during the 2000s, it feels like no one talks about it anymore. And that's going to be Shakugan no Shana. What's interesting about this show is, like specifically the first season, because the second and the third seasons are like kind of questionable in quality, and that may be the reason why it fell off. Specifically season 2. This third season, I think, is good. I never finished it, but the third season, to my understanding, is good. But I think by the time it came out, maybe interest had just waned. But the first season, like if you just stop there, that's totally fine. For those that don't know, Shakugan no Shana is about this world where there's this beings called Crimson Denizens, which are like the monsters of this world, or like kind of, some of them are like cosmic beings, some of them are kind of regular. But anyway, they eat the souls of humans, and the hunters that fight against the Crimson Denizens are called Flame Hazes. And there's this boy, Yuji, who gets caught up in the mix, and he ends up becoming one of the ones who gets eaten by Crimson Denizen. And those that are like eaten by Crimson Denizens, they end up becoming torches. And usually torches, they kind of like fade away over time. But for some reason, Yuji is like sticking around. So there's like a mystery to him. And there's this flame haze named Shauna that saves him. And pretty much the show is about her kind of going from being just a flame haze to also kind of becoming more like a regular human in a sense, because she starts attending high school with Yuji, and, you know, shenanigans ensue from there. But the show is well animated. The action is great. Shauna as a character, she grows as the series progresses. Yeah, this is just one of those shows that it was everywhere in the 2000s. It's like if you had merch, like if people were talking about anime and like anime merchandise, Shauna was everywhere. She was like one of the quintessential like tsunderes back then. But now, if you ask maybe like the average or like more like new school anime fan now, like about Shakugan no Shauna, they probably have no idea what you're talking about, which is crazy because it wasn't really that long ago. But, you know, it is what it is. But yeah, if you haven't ever heard of Shakugan no Shauna or checked it out, I'd highly recommend it. It's a show that's worth your time. If you're really into like shonen anime or like stronger, you know, female characters and like just a cool plot, I'd recommend it. So yeah, that's one of the stronger shows of the 2000s.
Shauna falls into that wave of anime from the mid 2000s mostly that I don't like. Some of this can be some of this can be given to like just age, like okay, you know, like the older anime fans versus younger anime fans. Some of it is just as the fandom got larger, there were some shows that just kind of fell in the cracks, and what was considered like I guess the best way to say it is like the barrier for what would be considered popular was raised. And so like something like that or Haruhi, almost I would say Gurren Lagann almost actually too has like fallen down to like they at one point they were considered like goated, well-known anime within the anime community, but as the anime community expanded, it's like nah, bro, like what's popular is like the shows that were the biggest shows on cable from back in the day, and then like the new shows, so like an Attack on Titan or Attack on Titan would be like a newer show, although it's not new anymore, but like that was one of the ones from the time where anime, the fandom started to grow. And then you have Death Note, which was on cable. And so like you have those. And then like stuff like Gurren Lagann, stuff like Shakugan no Shana, stuff like Zero no Sakaima, like all those kind of fell off, and like nobody remembers them the way that you would expect them, even though they were huge at the time.
I will say real quick that with Gurren Lagann, at least that has had more of a resurgence now because they re-released the movies recently. I actually saw those in theaters this year, and like there were plenty of people there that were like, it feels like Gurren Lagann is like, it didn't really die out in the same way that Shauna did. I think the problem with Shauna is that subsequent seasons just didn't hit as hard as the first one, and I think that may be the reason why it really fell off. But yeah, it's unfortunate because yeah, that was definitely one of the stronger anime from that decade.
It's a couple of because like one of the things is that, but also like light novel adaptations. It's not like they slowed up. We started getting more and more of them as time went on. And in Gurren Lagann, one of the things that helps that is it's a mecha anime. And mecha anime has like one of the most passionate fan bases.
Yeah, it's over the top. There's nothing like Gurren Lagann.
Yep. There really aren't a lot of anime like Gurren Lagann. I think Bang Bravern was a little bit like that, like in terms of being over the top and ridiculous, but even still not to that extent. But yeah, I think Mecha just has such a passionate fan base, and that helps it maintain some level of like, even when you bring it back, people are like, oh yeah, I'm excited to see this again. My first one, I'm gonna throw something at the wall. I decided to leave y'all the popular ones because I was like, everybody's gonna get the popular ones for the most part. So I was like, this frees me up to get some of the ones that I really love that aren't as well known. My first one is Tenchi Muyo GXP. This is a weird one because I never saw this. Not really. GXP specifically? GXP, not really, like because it never really aired on Toonami. Like that was one of the ones that I had never seen for years. Like I was like, oh, what's GXP about? I remember seeing it brought up on like Anime News Network, and then it kind of faded into Bolivia, as my friend likes to say. And you just never heard about it again. And I like during the pandemic, I just decided to do a Tenchi Muyo rewatch, And so I rewatched the OVA, I rewatched Universe. I did not rewatch Tenchi in Tokyo because it sucks. I did say I'll just go ahead and watch Tenchi Muyo GXP, and man, I wound up liking it. I liked it so much that I even checked out the dub. It's bad, but it's charming bad in a way that reminds me of like all the old dubs when you grew up in the 2000s. So if you've never seen it, it's a lot like Tenchi Muyo proper, but it's where all this stuff happens. That would be the way that I described it. It's like Tenchi Muyo, but stuff happens. Because like OG Tenchi, like the original Tenchi Muyo, and this takes place in the same universe as like Tenchi Muyo Ryo-Oki, so like the main timeline. And it's like in Ryo-Oki, there's a lot of slice of life stuff. You've got all these super powerful characters, godlike beings and gods and all this other stuff, and like princesses of alien planets and legendary space pirates and legendary scientists and all this shit. And all the time they just spend arguing over some random dude, although he's a god himself, and they just live on a planet in a single house and worry about how they're gonna pay bills. And it's relatable in that way, but also kind of ridiculous because you're like, hey man, y'all got power to just like warp reality. What are you doing? GXP kind of goes in a different direction in that it's more action oriented. The protagonist is like a friend of Tenchi. I don't know why he looks so much like Tenchi, but whatever. He's like a friend of Tenchi's. He has really horrible luck. And so like his parents are like, they're cool with him, but it's also like he has such horrible luck that when he's offered a job, his parents are like, no, you're gonna take this job, you're gonna get the fuck out of our house. And so they basically sign him up for this job, but it turns out the job is like to become a galaxy police agent. And so like he gets dragged out into outer space. He doesn't know what's going on. They're like, we'll see you later. We're gonna go on this trip that they rewarded us with. Bye. And so he's like in space learning how to be a police agent. And the agency eventually realizes like, okay, wow, you really do have bad luck. And they find a way to turn it against their enemies to use it on them. And then at the same time, he gets to meet some of the other important people out in the galaxy, like a lot of the people that the Tenchi Muyo cast are affiliated with that make them so important. You get to meet them, like you get to meet the head of the space police agency, and you find out, oh, this is why they kept Mahoshi's dumbass on. Like she's friends, like her dad and her mom like help run the agency. Oh, now it makes sense. And you meet like Aika and Sasami's like grandparents and shit like that. And it's pretty cool to get the chance to see that. And I just really enjoyed the fun that I had with that. I've watched it twice. I actually plan on doing a rewatch last year and kind of forgot and go through it a third time. But I really enjoyed what I got to see so far. I hope that one day they readapt the full novels because there's a lot more stuff that went on in it, and I feel like we were losing out. Like there's a chance to just do that again.
Was there a sequel series to that, like a spinoff or something?
Well, it's all one giant universe, and they did start continuing it recently. Paradise Wars or something like that.
Right, Paradise. I remember hearing that.
Paradise Wars. Yeah. That's what, and it's like it's more along the lines of the slice, but there is a little bit of action into it compared to like the other ones. So I'm interested. I haven't gotten a chance to check that out. I'm pretty excited to give it a shot though.
Okay.
Will, what's your first one?
Well, the 2000s definitely was a time where there's a lot of anime that kind of formed how I feel about things, but there is one that I do remember watching. I ended up watching this much later when I was in college, and I was like, I didn't realize this shit was this silly, but Panty Pony Dash.
Oh wow, you definitely reached into the bag for that one.
Yeah, bro, I had to. Panty Pony Dash is literally the only thing I can tell you is the story is about an 11-year-old girl who is basically a genius, and she gets to run a classroom full of like very eccentric students, like a wholesale idiot, a tomboy, a white rabbit for some reason that's taking a liking to her, and everything under the sun. It's just slapstick comedy, back to back to back to back throughout the whole thing. If I had to be honest with you, this was kind of almost like a small bit of Nichijou before Nichijou got here. So and that's also another show that could fit that category too. But it's such a funny show. Like the first time I watched it and sat down with it, I couldn't help but just die laughing at every episode. And the dub is great because it's following like a lot of people that do really good with this type of character archetype, like the Brittany Karbowskis, the Hillary Hoggs, and all of them. Like, so this is a show I do recommend if you are into comedy, especially if you're into like slapstick comedy, short skits, rapid fire gags going back and forth within this show. If you're looking to like get a good laugh, this is the show to watch, and I definitely recommend watching it in dub just for how silly shit could get.
Okay. I All right. Well, I guess that puts us into round 2. Terrence, what you got for us for the next one, man?
All right. So I'll go to one that kind of closed out the decade. This one has been going on for quite some time, and I'm like way behind on the subsequent series. There's like so many of them, but I watched this first season. I guess technically, yeah, this is season 1 of it. But I'm talking about Bakemonogatari.
Oh yeah,
The Monogatari series is like legendary in terms of like for one thing, it's been going on for quite some time, and 2, there's nothing else really quite like it. It's one of the first anime that I feel like started really diving into like that Japanese quippy, like it's very Japanese, I put it that way, in terms of the way that its dialogue is done, the types of jokes that it makes. Like, it's the type of anime where it would be like a fan subber's dream, like fan subbers from like the early 2000s that would like do the translator notes and whatnot. It's like it would be one of their dreams, just because there's so much that you could add there, like context wise. But for those that don't know, Bakemonogatari is about this student named Araragi, who he's like a half vampire, if I'm not mistaken. He has this classmate, Senjugahara, that he runs into one day that's like really popular. And she has this issue where she like weighs next to nothing. Like there's a scene from the show that's kind of iconic where she's like falling down from the stairs. And when he goes to get her, he finds that she like weighs next to nothing. And so he goes to like this person that he knows that kind of knows stuff about like the supernatural to help solve her problem. And from there, he meets various characters throughout the show that all have something supernatural going on with them that he helps them get over or like solve in some way. And yeah, the show is just very unique. Though, just like I said, from the wordplay, the dialogue, even just the art style, it's just really cool, distinct. There's just nothing really quite like it. I feel like it's the type of show that influenced other shows after it that lean more into like the Japanese-isms of like dialogue, in terms of making like puns that relate to how certain characters look like some things and whatnot. Like I said, it's a very Japanese show. There's some stuff that might kind of go over your head if you're not really paying attention. There's like a bunch of text that comes up on the screen to just kind of like explain stuff, and it just goes away, and you're like, hey, what was that? So it's a show that if you have ADHD, you might be kind of overwhelmed, but you know, if you get past that, it's one that I highly recommend. It may sound like a mess the way I'm explaining it, but I just say go check out the first episode. If you're not really interested from there, then, you know, it might not be for you, but it's definitely one of those that's like rated high among the community. And yeah, it's definitely one of the best shows of the decade.
Is that are they still running those? Is there a new one out right now?
I think so.
I think there is.
Yeah, I think there is one that came out recently that's like, I don't know if it's a continuation or if it's like a spinoff in some way. It has some of the characters from the series, but I don't know if it's necessarily connected to like the main storyline. I'm so far behind on it that I really couldn't tell you.
Same here, Taylor. I'm the same
They've been
way.
doing that for like a decade more or something like that, where it's just like always a new one. Katana Gatari and all this other stuff, and Zoku Monogatari and all this other. So like I know there's a ton of them. I've never invested in the universe.
It's called Monogatari off season. That's what it's called.
Oh, so I guess it is like a spinoff.
Oroka Monogatari, Waza Monogatari, and Nade Monogatari, and they apparently first aired on the 6th of July and the 13th. So 2 different parts of this is running apparently.
Interesting.
Okay. Devin, what's your second one?
You guys know me. When it comes to certain content, media, horror, dark type stuff. So I got to give a shout out to Claymore. Another one that I just
nice
came
choice.
across and was just a dope watch. It was about 26 episodes. This was one of those animes because I think it was around the same time that I had stumbled upon Guy with a Bow, Boots and Armor, and both of those are very like dark and gritty and violent. Especially like not the OG version Guy, but like the 2000 version. But yeah, this is a story about These warriors that are like they have like demonic powers, kind of like infused into their bodies and DNA. They're called claymores. The main character name is Claire. They fight these demons called Yoma. That's where they get their power from. Makes them stronger, gives them different abilities. They have different ranks. The higher your number is, unfortunately, the lower your rank is technically. So it's kind of like inverse. So there's like 47, I think, in total, and the protagonist, she's 47. So that means she's the absolute lowest rank there is out of all of them. But there's one catch with like them having the power with like from the Yoma. They can do this thing like an awakening, and basically that's like they awaken like, hey, that one's probably gonna kill everybody. So it's like they try to have to stay away from that. That's actually interesting because there used to be male claymores, but apparently the juxtaposition to awakening is like a sexual climax, and apparently the men could never handle it. So all male claymores just like faded out. So that's why there's only the women were the only ones that could like
weak
handle it.
I'm trying to bust.
So which is this is an interesting thing.
I'm about to bust.
But man, I remember watching this. The art style was pretty cool. It was like one of the animes that I remember distinctly. Like this is an adult like anime. This is dark and gritty. This is not for children. The style is like it's not a lot of happy go lucky. I remember one scene. I think I forgot the character's name. I think she was like the number like 1 through 3, one of the top ranks, and I think she awakened. And one of the other high ranks was talking to her, and she just like sliced her hands off right like in like instantly, and she didn't even know her hands were sliced off, and all you saw her hands just fall off. She's like, I was like, what is happening? And that ending was quite wild. Fighting that awakened Yoma was like, I'm like, how you gonna? I'm thinking like, how is the protagonist? This one of the time, like, there's no way the protagonist is gonna win this. I forgot what happened. I gotta go rewatch it, but I remember it was like, there's no way you can beat her. But I think she had like some awakening or something. But I'm not gonna go in too long. I just remember that was one of the ones I was like, I like this. Just stumbled upon it on a site and was like, I'm gonna watch this, and I liked it.
Claymore is definitely one of the top ones that never aired on like a major television show that I know of.
Yeah.
But people definitely fucked with it though, because it was like I just remember so many people being fans of it, even though I understand it was like one of those ones that didn't get a proper ending.
Yeah, I was gonna say, from what I've heard, a lot of people wish that it got a remake. And hey, we're in the time where it could happen. You never know.
Never know. Remake. Yes, sir.
At this state, I mean, like maybe a 20th anniversary remake. So you probably would maybe 4 or 5 years. What was it? 2006, 2005?
I think it was around there.
Okay. I mean, maybe a 25th anniversary. You know, who knows? Like they remaking everything out here, so I would not be shocked.
Yeah.
Will, what's your third one, bro? I mean, second one, bro.
Oh, my second one, right here in my hand, man. I'm a fan of clamp work, so Holic.
Oh, okay.
Wow.
Hey, look, I have them, bro. Before anybody in the comments be wondering how the hell is he pulling out all these DVDs, I buy. So when the power out, or the internet's off, I got something to watch.
Say if the power out, you stuck like the rest of us. But if the internet go
look,
out,
I can figure. You know what I meant. You know what I mean.
He still got the portable DVD player, man.
He got the All Sport power in his house.
The All Sport.
Yeah, but right here, Holic, one of my favorite shows I've ever just sat down and watched, because I was just like, I've always seen it, and I know the clamp art style, and I like the clamp art style, the long, lanky characters and whatnot. Let me check this out, because I was curious. I was like, the premise don't sound too crazy. It's about a guy that's always been able to see like dark spirits and yokai all the same. But he's just kind of like, why do I keep seeing these? And he ends up meeting this witch, Yuko Ishihara, who's just like, I can kind of help you get through this whole thing if you help me out. And I'm just like, And then it just leads to these silly adventures of him like helping her, but also getting himself in danger, trying to help the girl he like. And there's another guy that knows how to help him out. I know I just gave like a really shoddy plot summary, but when I say this is like a really great show, trust me on it, please. I ain't got no reason to lie to you. Holic is awesome. There's also other seasons that never did get released to a physical format, and I don't think it's on any streaming formats either, if I'm not mistaken. I'm not too sure.
This is a great question. Hold on.
Is Holic on any other any other formats aside from physical?
It's on Amazon
nowadays,
Prime.
you
I don't
never know because so many shows get
Yeah.
dropped at like a moment's notice that you're wondering, like, wasn't
Yeah.
this just streaming?
Yeah, or if you think, oh, maybe it is streaming, and you go look and you never can find it.
It's kind
anywhere,
of funny because I'm just real quick. It's kind of like a Full Metal Alchemist 03 where that's starting to disappear a bit.
Hard to find that one now.
Yeah.
It looks like the 7 Seas is the only way to get Holic K.
Dang.
Season 2.
Yeah, I that's kind of how I had to watch the other seasons anyways, because wasn't no other way for me to get them, and the movie too. So yeah, but it's a really fun mystical show. If you like occult stuff and tiny little bit of horror, you like watching spirits float around people, cause a little mischief, cause a little action here and there. If you like that type of stuff, Holic is right up your alley. It's really good. And if you like Clamp, if you've been a fan of Clamp and you just skip this, come back. Come back and watch Holic. It's really good.
Okay. I do remember Holic being like a big deal for a little while in the mid 2000s. Another one that never, unfortunately, got on television but had a lot of potential. It was like a shoujo, right?
Somewhat like a shoujo, yeah. Somewhat like
apparently it's a seinen. It was a seinen. I lied.
Oh, okay.
Either way, they could have stood to advertise that on TV a little bit better. Rakeem, what's your second one, bro?
Yes, sir. So for my second one, it's one I remember watching when I was young, and I was like, "Yo, this is different." I want to choose Van Dread. There was like the year 2000.
I'm glad somebody picked that. Yeah, I had it on my list. I'm glad you did.
I got that in the closet right now.
That's it. They came out in the year 2000, and just like the concept of literally men are from Mars, women and they're like different species was super interesting. I remember enjoying the cast. It did have a lot of like harem-y overtones, and there was, women were kind of interesting. I remember this one scene where the woman asked, will you mate with me? Will you make a baby with me? Because she just wanted to see what the concept for that was. Also, like one of the
they
first
were
animes,
genuinely ignorant of all that stuff.
they had no idea. Also, one of the few animes, literally because of how the world was, generally women were all lesbians. So it was like, that was kind of cool. At like such an early age, I didn't really see a lot of that when I was young. I was 10 years old when this came out. But yeah, I just remember like that show having an impression on me. Just the concept itself of like how men and women are different, and sometimes like we need to learn more about each other, and it kind of juxtaposes itself to the real world where like men and women, especially now where people like really accentuate our differences and cause strife, and like this show kind of exonerates like, hey, you don't always have to be at each other's throats. You can come together and find like-mindedness on certain issues. Also, it's a mecha anime, and I'm always down with mecha. You give me a giant robot, and I'm there. So that was also another reason I really enjoyed this show. It was just really cool for the time, and it's one that always stood out for me. Because when I watched it, I was like, oh, this is different. This is not like anything else. Because I mean, otherwise I was watching like Hokuto no Ken, and that was a whole different experience. Yeah, so I want to give a shout out to Van Dread.
Do you watch this on Encore, or did you watch it on your own?
Encore.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because that was one of the ones that like I think Encore Action had. And
yeah, they played it a lot. I watched it a lot.
They played a lot.
I watched it a lot.
I never got a chance to watch it because Encore Action, I had some weird cable package where they would rotate between them. And so it was like 5 different Encore channels, and you get a different one every day.
Oh,
and
wow.
Oh, wow.
Right?
Wow.
That's different.
That sucks.
I would get Encore Action on Saturdays and Encore Wham, which was like the kids one on Sundays.
Oh man, you're taking me back. Oh man.
Boy. Yeah, my dad had a package. He had all of them. So we had like the Encore Action. He had the Western one that was like one for thrillers. And like you said, the kids Wham, I remember specifically.
The blacks. They had one for the blacks.
We didn't have that one, unfortunately.
I think we might have had that one once a week. I forget. I do remember the Western, the thriller, the action, and the kids one, and they were like, there was a basic one.
Yeah, wasn't there one for like detective stuff too?
I think you're right.
Yeah, more than likely.
I think you are right. Yeah.
Encore Mystery.
Yep. Yeah, I watched a lot of.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, that's it.
Man, you jogging memories on
childhood. The audience don't know about that. These young people don't know about that.
A separate conversation is like the idea of like how much more fun cable was when we were growing up. Because like now they've just optimized it to hell, and so it's just the same 2 or 3 programs per channel, and it's like, oh, just watch this.
Trash, garbage.
I don't want to.
Trash.
My second one is gonna be Kitty Grade. I don't talk about this anime a lot, but it is one of my favorites. I grew up watching. I like it was one of the ones that I borrowed from my cousin. He had come down for. Oh snap! That's what's up, Will.
Yeah,
Will got everything. He really is collective collections. But he was not lying.
Right? But yeah, one of my cousins came home for like running from Katrina basically, and he brought his whole anime collection with him, and I was one of the ones that I borrowed from him, and I wound up falling in love with it. Like I didn't expect it because at first it's kind of slow. It starts out with these 2 protagonists. They work for a trade organization, like a trade agency, and they're supposed to keep the peace or whatever. Eclair and Lumiere, they're like these 2. At first, they seem like they're just like regular girls, like receptionists. But then you see them on the missions, and you realize they're a lot more than that. They have like certain powers and abilities. Like Eclair, her power, she has like super strength, and then like Lumiere, she can hack into any computer, and so they work together to go on missions. And at first, it's a very episodic type of show, and so I was like, this is cool, but I'm not sold on it. And then like they hit an episode at about episode 8. And there's a huge, and this is one of my favorite things where like you think you know what the show is about, and then somewhere early on in like episode 5, episode 10, somewhere in there, they're like, no, you have no idea what the show's about. This is what the show's about. And so like around episode 8, they do like this huge plot twist, and you're like, holy shit, what the fuck's going on? And like from that point on, I was hooked. Every episode just had me at the edge of my seat. I've rewatched that show, and I don't do a lot of rewatches. I think I've rewatched that show like 3 times, and every time it justifies itself. There's a little bit of fan service that I could do without, but other than that, it's just the kind of fun sci-fi that they just don't really do anymore. That it wasn't the last sci-fi like that, but it is one of the few from the 2000s or even the 2010s where it was just like, hey, we're just gonna hop in a spaceship and go to another planet. And there are alien races there, there are alien cultures there. Like you don't get that a lot. Like sci-fi now is all like, oh, this is our planet and we've got a little advanced tech, but it's still just Earth with like slightly advanced tech. And this was just like the kind of soft sci-fi that's just fun, and it's just traveling the stars and shit like that. Well, it's fun till the plot twist, but like still, it's just a really good show. Some good fight scenes in it. Exploring some fun science fiction concepts. I just fucking love that show. It's not very long. It's like 24 episodes, so you can watch it in really like a weekend or like 2 weekends or something like that. I may go back and rewatch that in the near future. So, but yeah, I think the 2000s. We can kind of agree that this is a very great decade for anime.
Oh, absolutely,
definitely.
Absolutely.
Probably
there's so many that we didn't even touch.
Yeah.
I made like a list of 10, and I was like, man, we only need 2 or 3. And so I was like, just in case somebody stepped on my toes, nobody did. Some other ones I could have brought up, Yu-Gi-Oh. Of course, the popular Zoids. That was not as popular as it used to be. Bleach, of course, the big 3. If you're a big 3 fan, Samurai Champloo.
Oh yeah,
both Full
that
Metal
definitely on my
Alchemist.
list.
Yeah, I was actually surprised that they were both in the same decade. I was like, I thought Brotherhood was 2010, but no, it was 2009.
It started in 2009 and finished up in 2010 because it ran for 64 episodes. My Hime is another one that was on my list. Anybody have any, like, you ain't got to go deep into it, just read them off. What else you have on your list, Keen?
Give me 1 second. I'm get my list back up. I had Monster, which I watched more recently. But just a serial killer anime. Like for any listener out there, like this realistic serial killer anime. This is a realistic anime, and man, it does drama so well. It's like watching a movie. It's really good. That one blew me away. I watched that on a whim on YouTube. Someone just had it on YouTube, and I wasn't looking for it. It was just on there. I was like, I'll take a look, and I was like, yo, this is fire. I had a guest come over. I was mad. Dang, I got to stop watching this. But yeah, that was a good one. Fullmetal Alchemist was on my list as well. I mean, but that's a goated anime, so it's kind of hard not to talk about it. Of course, we already
Right.
it speaks for itself. I don't have to go in too deeply about that one. Zatch Bell, I've talked about that one before about how much that meant to me because it's like an anime that takes a character who uses more strategy, his brains and technique than overpowering things. Because I feel like the overpowered, knock him in the face, punch him in the mouth protagonist has like taken over anime, and the witty characters are they're still there, but they're like usually side characters, background, or like supporting the main character. No, the main character had to use his brains every single fight. I thought that was a dope show. So I really enjoyed Zatch Bell as well. And that was about it for me. Everything else I watched in 2000s, I didn't really watch anime online until later. I adapted to online anime way later than you guys did. I started watching anime online when I was a senior in college because my cousin told me I could finish Bleach episodes online. I was like, what the fuck you mean online? Like, they got the sub. What is a sub? I didn't watch sub. I had only watched dub anime my whole until that moment, and that moment changed my life. I went online and saw Bleach, and then that was it. Then I started watching other anime.
Yeah.
I think everybody has a story as far as like dub versus sub. Like if you made the changeover, what happened? I think my friend gave me like a bunch of pirated anime, and that was when I was like, oh, I guess I'll just have to get used to watching it subbed, because I'd never done it before. And then I watched so many subbed anime, and I basically just inundated myself with it that by the time I switched back to the sub, the dub, I was like, this don't sound right. And then after that, I was just done. I never went back. And it's crazy because like there was a point where I bought a subbed, and this, oh my God, I'm old. I bought a subbed VHS tape on accident. And I was like, why is it so much more expensive? Because it was normally like the VHS tape was $20 for 3 episodes.
Yeah.
And this was 30. And I was like, why is it so expensive? And so I went back and put it in the VHS VCR, and I was like, ew, this is in Japanese?
It's
No,
raw.
man. I didn't like it. And so I took it back. I actually took it back to Sam Goody. Actually, I think it was On Q then. I took it back to On Q and was like, man, y'all got this. I need my money back. And then I'll watch, just give me the dub. And so I went back with the dub, and I went home and watched that shit. So, I mean, like, everybody has that moment where you like, oh, okay, I got to try some subbed anime. Will, what'd you have real quick? What'd you have left?
Okay, well, I'm surprised nobody mentioned this, but I'll mention this one for me and Keem because I figured he would have Ultimate Muscle, wrestling, anime.
Oh, yeah.
What more could you ask for? I definitely thought you was going to say that one, Keem, but I guess you didn't.
It's all good. I've been watching Kinnikuman too, and read the mangas. I got no excuse.
Yeah. Another one I got right here. Know what I'm saying? Ghost in the Shell standalone complex. That speaks for itself. I ain't got to say too much about that. If you ain't sat down with standalone complex, what are you doing? Come on back, watch it. It's great. Higurashi, When They Cry, got that right there. Yeah, great psychological thriller suspense show. If you want to be tripped out of your mind, especially on that first episode, if you want to see what's really popping off, by all means, come see this. Hell Girl, this right here.
Forgot about that one.
Yeah, I picked this up randomly in college and started watching. I was like, I really like the premise of this show, despite the fact that the premise does get a little stale within later seasons. But I think they started branching off to something different by like the 4th one, if I'm not mistaken. So good, because I think some implication from like the end of the 3rd season is carrying over, and now there's something different happening. I don't know what. I can't speak on it because I hadn't watched that season yet. And I guess my last one I'll throw out there is Toradora.
I was hoping I figured that one had to come. Like, I was surprised you didn't make that your first pick.
I know, man, but I love Toradora from here to the fucking moon. That's one of my favorite like slice of life romance animes. You can't tell me shit about this show. I know that we got golden time now and all of this, but if you was to ever ask me to sit down and watch Toradora, I'd do it dub or sub, and I still love it.
Toradora is better. You don't have Ghost Bonry kind of effing everything up like you do with Golden Time.
Okay, but yeah, those are my little shows right there. I got, man.
Okay. Terrence, what you got on your list that you didn't get to?
Just to quickly go off these, IGPX. Like, man, this one.
Man, that was
event.
one I thought
That
about.
was an event. Like that anime,
big.
man. I wish that one was more
Big,
readily
yo.
available because like that one is one that everybody should enjoy at some point. The Melancholy of Haruhi Suzumiya. Like that first, despite what some may say about, the Endless 8, season 1, you can't deny that was like that was an event for anime. Like that season of anime, like influenced so many other anime. So definitely have to mention that. Bacano. Bacano is really, really good. It's from the creator of Do Ra Ra Ra. Well, Do Ra 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 came after this. So if you're into that, then you should definitely check out Bacano. Clanad, that was one of the big forces of the 2000s. That was one of the ones that kind of
it's in the box on my bed right now, bro.
that was one of the ones that really helped put Kyoto Animation on the map. So yeah, they wouldn't be the same without that anime. And then lastly, I'll toss in Gundam 00. 00 is one of my favorite Gundam series, and that 00 had me hooked.
Fire.
Like
show.
That was one of the first shows where I was watching that weekly. Like I was keeping up with the sub. Like that, I was so invested in that show, and I went all the way into season 2. And yeah, it's one of my favorite mecha anime and one of my favorite Gundam shows. So yeah, those are some of the ones that I would toss on the list.
They call it 00 because you
not one of the first. You said what?
So they call it 00 because you be like, ooh, when you watch it.
What? You call it 00 because you be like, ooh.
Oh my God. Ooh.
That's another artist. I do remember watching 00 and it being like an event. It was not one of the first anime I watched weekly, but it is. Well, it's not the first, but it is one of the first. I had started watching anime weekly about a year prior in 2007, and I was like, it was just a handful of anime back then because I was on dial-up, and so it was only like I could only download like maybe 1 or 2 episodes a week, at best. And then like sometimes I found a way to get up to like 4 episodes a week, but that was it. That was the limit. And so like I was like, because it take 8 hours to download episodes, so I was hoed. And so I was like, all right, well, I'll get to, I'll figure it out. But Gundam, it was a big deal to me because I enjoyed that series so much. Devin, what you got, man? What were your the ones that you didn't get to?
So the last ones, a few of these also, I think, like I said, with Claymore, I think I watched these around the same time. Chrome Shell Regios.
Oh yeah.
This was
nice pull.
This was just one I like from the name. I was like, this just sounds interesting. Let me watch this. Ergo Proxy, another one of those kind of like dark, mysterious type vibes, more like adult. Hero Man is another one that I watched that was pretty intriguing.
Damn, that was in the 2000s, wasn't it? Damn.
Yeah, that was a while back.
Wow.
That was I remember watching that one. He Got J. I found that one on MTV, and I was just like,
MTV. Yep.
This is dope.
I never watched He Got J.
Yeah, that was my first time. I'm like, man, what is this? Is it androids and something like this? Look dope. And I believe Desert Punk. I remember watching that one. That was a while ago, but Desert Punk was always a cool vibe.
Now that brings back memories.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So those were the other ones I had on my list. So all good ones. So
man, that is a really good variety of anime that we got to. Man, we managed to even for the most part stay away from like the classic Toonami picks. So and yet, I mean, like, it's not that we're like down in those or saying they're trash. It's just those weren't the ones that we focused on back then. So
everybody knows about those other ones. So give these some shine. Everybody knows about Death Note. We don't have to bring that up.
I was gonna say like that's a big part of why I was like I'm gonna hand off the popular ones to y'all if y'all want to use them. The fact that y'all didn't, that's also great. Because I just figure everything has plenty, like the ones that everybody's seen a billion times, like you said, they got plenty of shine. So I mean, it's not a big deal if we don't bring them up. Don't think that we didn't watch them or we didn't fuck with them. Come on now.
Yeah, I was gonna say, Naruto and Bleach
get
like this.
So I watched every episode of the original Naruto, every single one,
including the filler.
Including the filler.
Oh, I got out of it when it was time for that filler.
Dubbed.
I remember I first saw Bleach in a Shonen Jump that I had bought from Walmart. I was like, what is
Damn, bro.
Bleach? And you know, I
Me
think
and
we were
Devin
talking
had
about
the
this
same
routine watching
childhood.
watching the 100-Year
Man.
War, how they be so swaggy in the intro. I'm like, what are these cool looking characters in these dope outfits? I'm like, what is this? And I was like, I can watch this? Oh, snap.
They are always swagged up in the intros and shit, and in the manga,
are.
like the manga opening chapter, like the opening color chapters and shit. You'd be like, oh fuck, these dudes look incredible. So,
in fact, watching 100-Year War reminds me of how I was when I first watched Bleach as a kid. Like, it makes me feel like that again.
Yeah,
it's like a time warp. In fact, it's actually a little better than OG Bleach because there's no filler, there's no pacing slowdown. It's just they getting from plot point to plot point. The animation is just godlike, just like
it is.
I had kind of gotten over my Bleach obsession, and I mean I'm still over it. But like watching 1,000-Year Blood War makes me feel like what I felt like when I first got into Bleach. So
yeah.
But yeah, I think that's gonna wrap this week up. If you liked it, hit us up with a like, a subscribe, tell your nerdy ass friends and family about us. But most importantly, though, do me a personal favor. Have an excellent week. Peace.
And watch more anime.
Hell yeah.